Captain Alex Grant stood at the edge of the massive hall, his heart pounding in his chest. He had been to many alien worlds, spoken to countless beings from across the galaxy, but this was different. This was the heart of the mighty Zeraxi Empire, and now he was about to meet their ruler, the one known as the Alien Queen. The hum of alien technology filled the air, a quiet yet constant presence. Everywhere he looked, strange lights flickered across towering structures made of materials he couldn't even begin to comprehend. The walls seemed to pulse, their surfaces alive with a mysterious energy that he had never encountered before. The room itself was grand, far grander than any palace on Earth. The entire space stretched high above him, as if reaching for the stars themselves. Despite the beauty, a sense of unease washed over him. The political meeting that had led him here was tense, but this invitation was something else entirely. The Queen had sent for him personally, a human diplomat, while the other members of the delegation were left behind in the main chamber. "Only you may enter," she had said, her voice carrying a commanding tone that brooked no argument. Now, Alex stood before a massive door that appeared to be made of solid energy, glowing with a faint blue hue. A silent pulse seemed to emanate from it, and for a brief moment, Alex wondered if the door could even be touched by human hands. Taking a deep breath, Alex stepped forward. As his hand brushed against the door, it opened silently, as though acknowledging his presence. On the other side lay a space that was even more spectacular than the one before. It was both organic and technological, a blend of alien aesthetics that seemed far beyond anything humans had ever conceived. In the center of the room, seated on a throne of shimmering silver, was the Alien Queen. She was unlike any creature Alex had ever seen. Tall, her skin glowed faintly in the dim light, a soft lavender hue that shimmered like the surface of a distant star. Her eyes were wide, dark, and fathomless, reflecting the vastness of space itself. She wore a crown of intricate design, unlike anything Alex had seen before, and her robe seemed to flow as if alive, moving in rhythm with her every breath. "Captain Grant," the Queen spoke, her voice like music soothing, yet with an authority that could silence armies. "I have been waiting for you." Her words sent a chill down Alex's spine. This was the leader of an empire that spanned star systems, a being who held the power of an entire civilization in her hands. Yet she spoke to him as if they were equals. "Your Majesty," Alex replied, his voice steady despite the surge of emotions inside him. "I was honored to receive your invitation." The Queen's lips curled into a slight smile, though it was more enigmatic than warm. "Honored? Perhaps that is one way to put it, but this is no ordinary meeting, Captain. There is much you must learn, and it begins now." Alex's curiosity deepened. "What do you mean?" The Queen lifted a hand, her fingers delicate yet powerful. A soft glow illuminated the room as a holographic map of the galaxy appeared before them, floating in midair. She gestured toward it, and the map zoomed in on a distant, uncharted region. "This," she said, her tone growing serious, "is the location of an ancient artifact. It is known only to a few, those of my kind who have kept the secret for millennia. This artifact is capable of altering the very fabric of reality itself, and it is tied to a force older than any of our civilizations." Alex's eyes widened as he took in the implications of her words. An artifact that could change reality? The thought was almost incomprehensible. He had heard rumors of powerful objects scattered across the universe, relics of long-forgotten races, but never had he imagined encountering one that could shape the future itself. "Why tell me this?" he asked, his voice low with suspicion. "What does this have to do with me?" The Queen's gaze locked onto his, her eyes unwavering. "It has everything to do with you, Captain. You see, this artifact is not just a tool. It is a key that only a human can wield, and you, Captain Grant, are the one chosen to awaken it." The weight of her words hit him like a physical blow. "Chosen? By who? By what?" The Queen did not immediately respond. Instead, she stood slowly from her throne, the movement fluid and graceful. She was taller than he had imagined, her presence commanding even more attention in person. "By destiny," she finally said, her voice echoing in the vast chamber. "By the very forces that shaped the universe long before you or I existed." A cold shiver ran down Alex's spine. He couldn't make sense of what she was saying. How could a human be destined for something so monumental? And why him? Why now? "You are the key," the Queen continued, "because only a human's genetic code can activate the artifact." Your species is tied to it in a way you cannot yet understand. Alex opened his mouth to respond, but no words came. He was at a loss. His mind raced, trying to piece together the fragments of this revelation, but it was all too much. The Queen's expression softened, though her eyes still held the weight of 1,000 stars. I know this is difficult to comprehend, Captain, but time is running out. There are those who seek to control the artifact for themselves, and they will stop at nothing to take it. You must act swiftly. The fate of both our worlds depends on it. The silence in the room grew heavy. Alex's heart thudded in his chest as he looked at the Queen, at the map, and at the truth that was being laid before him. He was no longer just a diplomat. He was no longer just a human. He was something more, something chosen by forces far beyond his understanding. "How do I begin?" he asked, his voice trembling despite his attempt to remain calm. The Queen's eyes gleamed with an almost unreadable emotion. "You begin by trusting me, Captain, and by trusting yourself." With a single gesture, the map disappeared, leaving Alex standing in the silent room, the weight of his destiny settling on his shoulders. The Queen's final words echoed in his mind as he turned to leave. "You may not understand yet, but you will, Captain. You will." Captain Alex Grant stood at the edge of the alien world, looking out at the sprawling landscape before him. The alien city stretched far beyond what his human eyes could comprehend. Towering structures made of metals that gleamed like polished crystal rose into the sky, their designs both alien and awe-inspiring. There was a sense of otherworldliness about the place, as if time itself had stopped, and yet in a way it felt alive. It was as if the very ground beneath his feet hummed with ancient power. The Queen had explained so much to him in the short time they had spoken, yet so much of it remained a mystery. His mind couldn't wrap itself around the concept of an artifact that could alter the very fabric of reality. How could he, a simple human, be the one to activate it? Why was he chosen? Was it truly destiny, or was there some hidden purpose that the Queen wasn't telling him? As he stood there, he felt a mixture of awe and dread. The enormity of the task ahead felt crushing, and yet part of him couldn't deny the call of adventure. He had been chosen, that much was clear, but chosen for what? To wield the artifact? To reshape history? Or to simply stand in the face of something much greater than himself and make a decision that could echo through the universe? His communicator buzzed, breaking him from his thoughts. It was a message from Lieutenant Rios, his second-in-command. She had been with him through countless missions, and her voice was always a welcome source of reason. "Captain, we've received word from the Council. The diplomatic talks are in progress, but we need you back here as soon as possible." The Queen's message has sparked a lot of interest and concern. It seems we may not be the only ones aware of the artifact's existence. The words hit Alex hard. The artifact was not just a rumor, it was real. And if other factions knew about it, then the stakes had just been raised. He couldn't afford to wait. He had to learn more, and he had to do it quickly. He sent a quick reply to Lieutenant Rios, letting her know he would be back shortly. He then turned toward the Queen's chambers, determined to understand the true nature of the artifact and his role in unlocking it. The journey back to the Queen's palace was a blur of strange sights and sounds, none of which Alex could fully absorb. His mind raced, replaying the Queen's words. "You are the key," she had said. The key. To what? To an ancient power? To a future unknown? He couldn't stop asking himself those questions, but he knew there would be no answers until he met with her again. When he arrived at the Queen's chambers, he was immediately shown inside. The Queen was already waiting, sitting gracefully on her throne. Her eyes met his as soon as he entered, and for a brief moment, he felt as if she were reading every thought in his head. "Captain," she said softly, "I see the doubt in your eyes. You are wondering why a human, are the one chosen. I will answer your questions, but first you must understand something." Alex nodded, trying to steady the rapid beating of his heart. He had so many questions, so many doubts, but he knew he had to hear her out. "I'm listening, Your Majesty." The Queen stood and walked toward him, her movements fluid, almost ethereal. "The artifact you will awaken is not just a tool, it is a living force. It was created long before any of our civilizations, by the ancient beings who shaped the very universe itself. They left behind their knowledge, their power, and their will in the form of this artifact. It has been dormant for millennia, waiting for the right moment to awaken." She paused, her eyes locking onto his. "And that moment is now. The artifact responds to the one who holds the power to bring balance to the universe. For reasons unknown to even me, humans are the only species capable of unlocking its potential. That is why you, Captain Grant, have been chosen. Alex's mind reeled. He had heard of ancient artifacts, but this was something far beyond any legend or myth he had ever encountered. It was more than just an object, it was a force in itself, a force that could shape the universe. But why me? Alex asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Why not someone else? The Queen's gaze softened. You are not like other humans, Captain. You were born for this moment. Your bloodline, your connection to the very core of humanity, has been linked to the artifact for centuries. It is not just fate that brought you here, it is your destiny. Destiny, Alex repeated, shaking his head as he tried to make sense of her words. I don't understand. I'm just a soldier, a diplomat. I'm not someone special. The Queen smiled faintly. You are more than you realize. Your people are more than they realize. Humanity is the key to unlocking the next chapter of the universe's story. You are not just here to witness history, you are here to shape it. The weight of her words hit him like a physical blow. He wasn't just a bystander in this cosmic drama. He was a central figure, a crucial piece of the puzzle. But what if he failed? What if he wasn't ready for this responsibility? The pressure threatened to crush him, but as he looked into the Queen's eyes, he saw something that stopped him in his tracks, a glimmer of trust. She believed in him, even if he didn't believe in himself. I'm not ready, he admitted, his voice hoarse. I don't know what to do. The Queen placed a hand on his shoulder, the touch gentle but firm. You don't have to be ready, Captain. The artifact will guide you. All you have to do is listen to its call, and you will know what to do. Alex's mind was still racing, but there was something calming in the Queen's presence, something reassuring in her words. Maybe, just maybe, he could do this. We are not the only ones who seek the artifact, the Queen continued, her voice growing darker. There are those who would use it for their own gain, to rewrite history in their image. We must act quickly before they find it first. A chill ran down Alex's spine. If there were others hunting the artifact, then he couldn't afford to hesitate. He had no choice now. He had to embrace this destiny, whether he was ready for it or not. What do I need to do? Alex asked, his resolve firming up. The Queen nodded, her expression serious. You must journey to the location of the artifact, but be warned, this will not be easy. The path is fraught with danger, and the enemies who seek the artifact will stop at nothing to get it. Alex nodded, determination flooding through him. He had a mission now, a purpose. It wasn't just about diplomacy anymore. It was about saving the universe, and somehow, someway, he was going to make sure that the artifact didn't fall into the wrong hands. Tell me where to go, he said, his voice steady. The Queen's lips curled into a smile. You will need a guide, someone who knows the ancient paths. I will send you with one of my most trusted warriors. Trust them, they will help you find the artifact. With that, Alex knew his journey was about to begin. A journey that would take him to the very heart of the universe, to an ancient secret that could change everything. And he wasn't sure if he was ready for the power, the responsibility, or the enemies that lay ahead. But he would face it all head-on, no matter what. The silence of space stretched around Captain Alex Grant like an infinite void as his ship hurtled toward the unknown. The Xeraxi world, with its towering spires and radiant cityscapes, was now far behind him, swallowed by the vastness of space. He was alone now, but not truly alone. His mind was filled with the weight of everything he had learned, the responsibility that had been thrust upon him, the power he was expected to wield. As the stars outside his ship streaked past, Alex couldn't help but feel the pressure of his mission mounting. He wasn't just a diplomat anymore. He wasn't just representing Earth. He was the key to unlocking a force that could reshape the universe. The artifact. It seemed unreal, like something out of a dream, and yet every word the Queen had said resonated in his mind. You are the key. Those words had haunted him since their conversation. He still wasn't sure why he had been chosen, why he of all people was the one to activate this ancient, galaxy-shaping power. Was it destiny, or was it something else entirely? The more he thought about it, the less certain he became. His communicator buzzed, interrupting his thoughts. It was Lieutenant Avarios. Captain, we've reached the coordinates, she said, her voice steady and professional. We're in orbit around the target planet. Preparing for landing. Are you ready? Alex paused for a moment, taking a deep breath. I'm ready, he replied, though a part of him wasn't sure he truly was. The truth was, he had no idea what to expect. The Queen had provided him with coordinates to an ancient temple, an uncharted world where the artifact lay hidden. No one knew exactly what was waiting for them there. No one but the Queen and a handful of trusted Xeraxi. The rest of the galaxy had no idea what was at stake. If he failed, if the artifact fell into the wrong hands, the consequences could be catastrophic. "Proceed with caution," Alex added, his voice firm. "We don't know what we're walking into." As the ship descended toward the surface, the landscape below was a patchwork of jagged mountains, dense forests, and ancient ruins. The planet seemed untouched by time, as if it had been frozen in the past, holding secrets no one had yet uncovered. The air outside was thick with the scent of unknown vegetation, and Alex felt the weight of history pressing down on him as the landing gears touched the ground. The ship's hatch opened with a soft hiss, and Alex stepped out onto the alien soil. The ground was firm beneath his boots, and the air was thick with the sounds of distant wildlife. A low hum reverberated through the atmosphere, almost as if the planet itself was alive, waiting. A Xeraxi warrior stood nearby, waiting for him. This was Varrock, one of the Queen's most trusted warriors, and the one assigned to guide Alex through this dangerous journey. Varrock was tall, even by Xeraxi standards, and his presence was intimidating. His dark, almost obsidian skin shimmered in the dim light, and his eyes glowed with an intensity that spoke of countless battles fought and won. He wore a simple tunic, but the aura of authority around him was undeniable. "Captain Grant," Varrock greeted him in a voice that was both deep and resonant, his tone respectful yet firm. "The path ahead is fraught with danger. You are not the first to come seeking the artifact, and you will not be the last, but you are the only one who may succeed." Alex gave a nod, trying to match Varrock's gravity. "I understand. Let's get moving." The journey to the temple was a grueling one. The terrain was rough, and every step they took seemed to lead them deeper into the wilderness. The forests were dense, the trees towering high above them like ancient sentinels. The air was thick with humidity, and the further they walked, the more the planet's strange atmosphere seemed to close in around them. Varrock led the way, his keen eyes scanning the environment with the precision of a hunter. Alex followed closely behind, his senses heightened. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them. The forest around them felt alive, but not in a comforting way. There was an ancient presence here, something that had been dormant for centuries, waiting to awaken. As the hours passed, the sounds of the jungle grew louder, strange calls and distant growls echoing through the trees. The further they went, the more Alex felt the weight of the mission pressing on him. He wasn't just walking through an alien forest. He was walking through history, through a place that had been hidden from the galaxy for millennia. Whatever lay ahead, he was about to face it head-on. They finally reached the temple after what felt like an eternity. It was nestled deep within a canyon, its massive stone doors carved with intricate symbols that seemed to pulse with an energy of their own. The architecture was unlike anything Alex had ever seen, alien and ancient, yet perfectly intact. The doors themselves were covered in vines and moss, but the symbols were still sharp, glowing faintly in the dim light. "This is it," Varrock said, his voice barely a whisper. "The heart of the temple, the artifact lies within." Alex nodded, his heart racing. He could feel the power emanating from the temple, a strange force that tugged at the very core of his being. This was it, the moment he had been waiting for. The moment that could change everything. Varrock stepped forward, his hand resting on the stone door. With a soft rumble, the massive doors slowly began to open, revealing the dark interior of the temple. The air inside was cool, and the scent of ancient stone and dust filled his nostrils. The light from their torches flickered against the walls, casting long shadows across the floor. Inside the temple was a vast chamber, its size almost overwhelming. The walls were covered in carvings, stories of gods and kings, of civilizations long gone. But at the center of the chamber was something far more important than any mural or statue. A pedestal, bathed in an eerie, soft glow, stood at the far end of the room. And atop that pedestal was the artifact. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. It shimmered with an otherworldly light, its surface shifting and pulsating as if it were alive. Alex couldn't take his eyes off it. He could feel its power calling to him, an undeniable pull that made his heart race. But as he stepped forward, a deep rumbling shook the temple. The walls trembled and the floor beneath his feet cracked open. Something was wrong. Varrock's eyes widened as he turned to face Alex. "We are not alone," he said, his voice urgent. The others have found us. Before Alex could respond, a loud crash echoed through the chamber. From the shadows emerged figures, shadowy figures, humanoid but not human, their eyes glowing with malice. They were the ones who sought the artifact, the ones the Queen had warned him about, and now they were here ready to take it by force. Alex's heart raced as the figures moved closer. He had no choice. He had to act. "Varrock," he shouted, "protect the artifact, I'll handle this." The Xeraxi warrior nodded and rushed toward the pedestal, but Alex knew that this wasn't just about fighting. It was about understanding the artifact's power and using it before it was too late. The chamber was filled with the sound of battle, of weapons clashing and energy bolts whizzing through the air. Alex ducked and rolled, dodging one of the attackers as he pulled his weapon from its holster. But in that moment, he realized that the real fight wasn't against these intruders, it was within himself. The artifact was the key, and it was calling to him. He had to make a choice, and that choice could either save or doom everything.